Hey Tish, it's Elizabeth Hart. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Communication and Media Relations at the Tennessee Department of Health, but I am here in Columbia, South Carolina, as a member of Tennessee's Emergency Operations Support Team, assisting those here at the South Carolina Emergency Management Division. So we arrived late on Thursday evening, and we've been working 12-hour shifts since we arrived. My main responsibility is assisting with communications and media relations, primarily in the social media realm. I've been helping to man both their Facebook, their Twitter, and their Instagram, making sure that we push out important messages to those that are here in South Carolina, any updates that have been received here in the Operations Center, but also anything else we can do to answer their questions. We've had a lot of questions about whether or not schools were back open, which roads were flooded, who to call for types of questions, and so that's what I've been doing in my service here in South Carolina. There are members of our team. Again, we're a five-man team here, at least with our team. Now, we've got several other hundred Tennesseans who are here doing various things. There's a nurse strike team up in the North Carolina area, but our five-member team here in South Carolina, several of those members have actually been out in the field helping with logistics, and they've been working with an OES team from California, as well as the logistics chief here in the base South Carolina Emergency Management Division, getting those commodities and trailers and things of that nature lined up for those individuals who are going to be perhaps in need as the state of South Carolina continues with the aftermath of what was Hurricane Florence. I think a lot of people don't realize all of the different things that happen during an emergency. We're in Tennessee, so we're not going to necessarily see hurricanes. So it is fascinating to be here, and everyone has a role and responsibility. As far as my responsibility in the Joint Information Center, each of us has a different role. And so some of us are doing graphics, some of us are doing, as I mentioned, I'm doing social media along with some other individuals, and it's important that we all work together as a team. Many supplies will be needed. There's obviously multiple ways that people can donate. There's a lot of information on the South Carolina Emergency Management Division's website for where to send those donations, how to send those donations. Of course, the American Red Cross is one that many people think about, but there are so many other ways to give. And I understand that Local 24 is doing that to help our friends and our neighbors here on the East Coast, and certainly they are going to be in need, not just here in South Carolina, but also in North Carolina. As I mentioned, we have some nurse strike teams with the Tennessee Department of Health who have been stationed in the Charlotte area, and as you've probably seen on the weather and in the news, they were hit particularly hard, not only on the coastline, but also inland in Charlotte. So actually, after we were here for one day, we did have an opportunity to ride down to Lake City, South Carolina, which is a little closer to Myrtle Beach. It's not as inland it's further inland from Myrtle Beach, but not quite to the coastline. And several members of the fire departments from around the state of Tennessee were stationed there. And we did have an opportunity when the outer bands were coming in and seeing some of the limbs that had fallen, some of the trees that were kind of toppled over, and a lot of rain, a lot of wind. And so I know that those teams were part of the water rescue. And so I know, again, with the flooding, that's the biggest issue, I guess, after one of these kinds of storms is the water. It's the unknown, right? The water that's coming through, and you don't know where it's going to go. And so there are homes that have experienced flooding. There are streets that are experiencing flooding. There are cars that have water in them. And so there's always going to be a need afterwards. And this is certainly going to be a marathon and not a sprint for the individuals here, not only here in South Carolina where we are based, but also in the North Carolina area as well. And we are proud of the state of Tennessee. I couldn't be prouder of my teammates at the Tennessee TEMA, Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, but also the Tennessee Department of Health, and so many other agencies that stepped in, and we received the call and we jumped into action, and that's what volunteers, the Tennessee Volunteers, that's what we do.